Imagine you're BRI, and every single day you need to decide where to spend your most limited resource. Not money, ladies and gentlemen, but your monthly's time. Greetings, respected judges. My name is Leonardo, and today I'm here with Hasha and Jesslyn. We are from the Case Crackers Volume 1 team. So BRI currently serves over 34 million ultra micro and micro borrowers, yet there are only around 31,000 monthly responsible for mentoring, advising, and supporting them. So this means that every single hour spent helping one MSME is one less hour available to help another. So the question here now becomes, where should those hours be allocated? So ladies and gentlemen, because of this situation, BRI faces what we call a trilemma. So the first priority is supply side development, helping MSMEs improve their capabilities through financial literacy, mentoring, and business development. The second is demand side development, connecting MSMEs to buyers through digital platforms, marketplaces, and commercialization. And the third is social value, ladies and gentlemen. So ensuring financial inclusion by supporting undeserved communities and early stage entrepreneurs. But the challenge is that BRI cannot fully maximize all three of these facets at the same time, because they all compete for the same limited monthly resources. So instead of asking which objective is the most important, we asked a different question, which is which MSMEs generate the greatest impact for every additional hour invested by a monthly. So, ladies and gentlemen, to answer that, we first need to understand that not all MSMEs require the same type of support.
That's why we segmented BRI's borrower using three complementary perspectives, allowing us to identify where BRI's limited resources can generate the greatest impact instead of applying the same interventions to every MSMEs. First, we look at each borrower positions in the night class journey, starting from stage F all the way to stage A+. Businesses at different stages face fundamentally different challenges and therefore require different forms of support. Early stage MSMEs mainly require supply side interventions such as financial literacy, business mentoring, operational guidance, and capability development to strengthen their business foundations. On the other hand, more mature businesses have already developed the necessary capabilities and are therefore better supported through demand-side interventions, including market access, digital commercializations, buyer linkage, branding, and business expansions opportunity. This shows that allocating resources uniformly across all stages would not be an efficient strategy. Second, we incorporated a geographical perspective, recognizing that business locations also shapes the type of support needed. MSMEs operating in remote areas generally face structural constraints such as limited infrastructure, weaker logistic networks, lower digital connectivity, and fewer market opportunities. Consequently, these businesses require a strong investment in capability buildings before they can effectively participate in broader markets. Meanwhile, MSMEs located with emerging ecosystem already possess a stronger business foundations, but still needed assistance in connecting production capabilities with commercial opportunities. In contrast, businesses located in market-accessible areas are relatively more prepared to scale, making market linkage, branding, and export facilitations that the most appropriate interventions. Finally, we evaluated the marginal impact per monthly hour, which directly addressed what we believe is BRI's most critical constraint, the limited capacity of its frontline officers. Rather than asking where MSMEs have the greatest needed, we asked a more practical questions. If a monthly spend 1 additional hour mentoring an MSME, where will that hour generate the highest economics and social return? Since monthly time is limited, every additional hour must be allocated where it creates the greatest value for both BRE and the MSMEs it serves. Our analysis shows that the highest impact is DC MSMEs located in Tier 2 emerging market ecosystems. These businesses have already established basic operational capabilities and demonstrate business's potential, yet they have not fully transitioned into commercially competitive or bankable enterprises because they are already close to the next stage of development. Even a relatively small amount of targeted mentoring can produce a significant improvement in productivity, bankability, and market readiness. In other words, compared with other borrower groups, this segment provide the highest return for every additional monthly hour invested, making it the most efficient priority for resource allocations. After identifying the highest priority segment, the next step was determining how BRE should allocate its limited resources across all borrower groups in a way that maximizes commercial impact while continuing to fulfill its financial inclusions and social value mission.
Based on our analysis, we recommend reallocating manager time instead of increasing headcounts. Specifically, we propose allocating 45% of manager time to D2C MSMEs in Tier 2 emerging ecosystems, 30% to B2A businesses that need commercialization support, 20% to early-stage FTE businesses through existing government support channels, and only 5% to mature A-plus businesses that require minimal intervention. You might be wondering, why don't we allocate the largest share to the earliest stage MSMEs since they're the one who needs the most help? While they certainly do require more support, many of the challenges faced by FTE businesses are structural, such as limited infrastructure, weak logistics, and low market access. These are barriers that cannot be solved simply by spending more management hours. Therefore, instead of intensive mentoring, we recommend maintaining support through existing programs like BPUM and Pinjaman Kemitraan, while focusing mentee time where it can generate the largest incremental impact. On the other hand, D2C businesses have already developed basic capabilities. They're close to becoming bankable, and with targeted mentoring and business guidance, they can progress to the next stage much more quickly. This makes them the highest return segment for BRE to prioritize. However, reallocating time alone is not enough. If management performance continues to be evaluated mainly through portfolio quality, they will naturally prioritize borrowers who are already established and financially stronger. This creates a mismatch between BRE's strategic objectives and the incentives faced by frontline officers. Therefore, we also recommend redesigning the monthly KPI system. Beside portfolio quality, KPI should also reward successful MSME graduations, buyer linkages, participation in BRE's empowerment ecosystem, and improvements in market access. This ensures that mentee are encouraged to help businesses truly move up the Nike class ladder, rather than just simply maintaining existing portfolios. Finally, this strategy does not require BRE to hire more monthly or invest in an entirely new system. Instead, it is a smarter allocation of existing resources supported by a phased implementation that begins with KPI redesign, pilot programs, and gradual scaling. This makes our recommendations both impactful and operationally feasible. In conclusion, our recommendation is not about choosing between supply, demand, or social value. Instead, it's about prioritizing the right MSMEs with the right intervention at the right time. By maximizing every management hour, BRE can achieve stronger commercial performance while creating meaningful and sustainable social impact for millions of MSMEs across Indonesia. Thank you.